Hey, welcome to the paper banner ornaments lesson. I am so excited to have you be here. If you just came over from Summer's page, say hello. Let me know. She did such an amazing job on that little snowman ornament. I'm just always really impressed with all of the crafts that she comes up with. So thank you for coming over here and seeing me today. We're going to do a kind of different type of ornament. And so I brought my Christmas tree, one of my Christmas trees in here to show you what it looks like and kind of how I put it in the tree because it is a little bit different from your normal ornaments that you're probably used to. So say hello. Hey, Christy. Christy is going to be right after me. And I have her link in my description as well so that you can click over to see her next. Also, I've got to get started because I've got limited time and my lives typically are an hour because I like to chit chat. So I'm going to get right into it. I want to make sure that you've got all the supplies that you need. They are listed there in the description. Whenever you click that link, it'll take you to download my templates that I have for you. And there's also a supply list there with links to make it super easy, but there's not a whole lot of supplies that you need for this. So let me switch over my camera so that you can see here. So you're going to have your templates, and in here I have done two different sizes for you. I've done one that fits on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and then I've also given you a second size. So let's see, this is one that's larger. So depending on your tree size will kind of depend on what size you want to do. I wanted to give you a couple different options so you could try both. And I'm going to show you how to do all of it. And it's very simple. I hope that you'll find it simple. I've tried to give you all the bones that you need to just get it done easily. I'm very much a try to simplify. So my pens that I'm using today are just your regular Sharpies, nothing special there. And then I do have a Tombow Mono double tip pen. It kind of is like a Sharpie. It is a permanent marker, but it has a little bit of a finer tip to it. I just like it from a marker standpoint. It kind of helps get a little bit of finer details. And then we are going to be using some transfer paper. So if you've never used like a carbon paper before, you can see I've used this one a bunch of times. You can just use it over and over. And then the main thing is your craft paper, what's actually this ornament. And I use the word ornament a little bit like, I don't know, it's kind of a weird ornament, okay? I admit it. But I've seen a few of these on people's trees before, and this year I thought I have got to do something like this on my tree. So I tried it out, and I'm really happy with it. But you need the right kind of paper. So the first paper I ordered off Amazon, which was like a white butcher paper, and it was too flimsy. And so the one, like I took the picture with it and everything, I didn't feel like it could stand up in the tree good enough. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I looked in their paper craft section, kind of over with the school supplies where you find the poster boards. And they had this white craft paper, and it is a little bit thicker than the butcher paper. So just know that. And then I also grabbed some construction paper to try out some different options. And I got the big construction paper. This is 12 by 18 inches. Whoops. So it's large, but it will allow you to get these bigger banners if you have a big tree. So if you've got a big tree, I have a big 9-foot tree in my living room that's real wide. And I knew that I needed something a little bit bigger on there. Whereas this tree behind me is a skinny pencil tree. And so you don't maybe need as big of a banner for that. So that is my little rambling introduction, but I want to go ahead and get started because I don't know how long this will take me. It shouldn't take the whole 30 minutes, but like I said, sometimes I can just kind of get off talking about lots of other things. So I'm going to set this to the side. We today are going to do the smaller version just because it's easier to get it all on camera for you to see it. If you are wanting to do the larger one, which I highly recommend, I went ahead and so you can kind of see these are some of the larger ones that I did previous so that I could show them to you. The way that you do this, if you've never tiled anything before, they call it tiling, but you print out both sheets. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut one of those sheets. Where did my paper go? You're going to cut one side. So see here, there's your margin. You are going to cut one of those, and then you've got the other side. Uh-oh, I got out of order. Let me make sure I have the right one. Here we go. Okay, so where your white margin is, cut one of them. Don't cut both of them. I made that mistake at first. Cut one, and then you're just going to match them up so that they look seamless, and then tape them together. So you can kind of see, hopefully, that there's a line here where the two pieces of paper are taped together, all right? And then everything else will be the same steps as what I'm going to show you now. So if you have never used a carbon paper transfer paper, I don't love this stuff. I'll be honest. It is a little bit messy. It's a little bit messy because it can get on your hands and everything. But for tracing, it just makes it so much easier, and you don't have to stress about your banner, making sure your banner looks good. Now, if you already know how to do hand lettering, you already know how to do banners, you can just take this idea and do whatever, make up your own thing. But I've given you 3 different designs for you to use. And the one that we're doing now is the Silent Night one, but we do have this one that says Jesus is Lord. And then we have Joy to the World. So, and I mean, you could do multiples of these in your trees or change up what they say on the inside. So it's super customizable, right? I like things that I can customize to myself. So, okay, we've got our paper underneath. This is that craft paper that I was showing you, the rolled up one. So I just cut a piece ahead of time because it's real big. So I didn't want to be fussing with it, but you just roll it out, cut it to the right size, and then you're going to lay your transfer paper down there. Make sure that the dark side is face down. I made that mistake doing it, practicing this, and then realizing that it was facing the wrong way. So then you have to do it again. But we're going to tape it on here. And the great thing is, because you're going to cut this out, you don't even really have to make sure that it's centered. You just tape it down so that it's not moving and shifting while you're going. And that's kind of the key for this one, but it doesn't have to be super straight on there, which is nice. Jennifer says, get the gray graphite paper from Hobby Lobby. It is the best and doesn't get carbon all over. Oh, that's good to know, because I just ordered this from Amazon because, when you're laying in bed at night is when you're thinking about the stuff that you need to buy, and it's just easier. But I do love me some Hobby Lobby. I've been in Hobby Lobby several times this last week with decorating for Christmas. So, all right, I'm going to just take a ballpoint pen. I don't have one of those fancy styluses. You can get one of those little wooden metal stylus. Didn't come with my graphite paper. Maybe it came with yours, Jennifer. I don't know. But I'm going to, now that I've got my design here and my ballpoint pen, I'm just going to go along and trace over it. So with a banner, you want to make sure you're keeping up with where you're tracing, right? So you don't forget certain places. So I'm going to just make sure that I start in that top left-hand corner and work my way around. I love banners so much. I've been doing hand lettering for about 10 years. And just a little bit about me, if we have not met before today, I started off with a career in graphic design, and then I started getting really bored with it. And so I started learning how to do hand lettering, self-taught in the beginning because I couldn't find any online classes at first. And just really watched people on Instagram do it. This was 10 years ago, so it was like the beginning of hand lettering becoming really, really popular, you know? But banners, when I learned how to do banners, they were kind of a mystery to me at first. I was like, how does that work? But now, once you kind of get the main function of a banner, you can come up with all different shapes and things on your own. So that is what's fun about hand lettering, is that you can just really let your creativity run wild and do so much with it. So I'm going to peek because, like I told you, I would get talking and not paying attention to what I'm doing. So I'm going to take a little peek here. And so I got most of it there. I missed, you know what? I missed, yeah. Okay. This. And I'm not going to worry about all these little lines because we can freehand that. But I will go ahead and just lightly, you know, now I'm scared that pulling that up got me off track. So hopefully that didn't happen. But just lightly go over this. I'm going right in the center of the letters so that we're not going to worry about all the thick and thin lines right now. We're going to do that when we finish it with our Sharpie. But just getting that very light. And that's the hard thing for me too. I press down really hard when I write. I'm heavy-handed, I guess is what it's called. I don't know if you're heavy-handed too, but it can be kind of a pain because your hand cramps up a whole lot more. So keep it light, really light pressure on this so that it's not too much of a mess. But okay, good. There, it's still centered. And that is just our really raw, the raw trace. Doesn't look that great yet, but don't leave. Stay around. It's going to look better. Okay, so now I'm going to take a Sharpie. I recommend a new Sharpie, not one that you pull out of the drawer that is like dull and kind of dried out. Get a new Sharpie. I was rummaging around last night looking for a new Sharpie, and thankfully I had a couple. But I'm going to try and trace my own work here. Sometimes I feel like tracing is even harder than just doing it on your own because you're trying so hard to cover up those lines. And one thing I would say with this too, it's okay if you do miss it, if you don't trace it perfectly, because you can go back over it and thicken it up. I almost think it looks better when the lines are thick and bold, and maybe they're not even all the same. You know, maybe some of them are a little bit thicker than others. Just lends itself to that more, I hate using the word organic because it's kind of overused now, but just a real natural look instead of, you know, a computer doing it. So if you look at one of my examples, you can see that it's like really thick here at the top, but then it's thinner down here. So it doesn't have to be completely uniform all the way around. So I will spend just another minute kind of going along here. Try to thicken it up just a little bit, but not where it gets crazy. So tell me if you've put your Christmas tree up already, or if you're just getting into the mood, or if you're planning on waiting till after Thanksgiving. I know that that is always a yearly debate. I'm an early bird, always. But it seems like this year, I feel like more and more people are putting their tree up early. So it's kind of catching on. Let's see. I love seeing where y'all are from, and I'm definitely gonna go back afterwards and look at all your comments and respond to you guys. So one thing, I have a hand lettering class. It's one of the things that I accomplished this year. It was getting a class finally recorded, and it's called Faith in Lettering. And in it, I have a bonus module where I teach banners. And I'm trying to think. I think there's a couple different ones even from this, like what I've done here, but some how to do banner tutorial, because like I said, I feel like whenever you do hand lettering, knowing how to do banners is essential because it just adds such a fun touch to your hand lettering, the finished look of things, and you can do so much with it. I even thought, you could measure your front door wreath and maybe get a double up the paper so it's really thick, and put this on like in your wreath somehow, maybe wire it in or put a string on the edges of it and tie it in. And that would be so pretty for a front door wreath. So I'm just coming back here because I'm using a Sharpie. I don't have a calligraphy pen with me right now. I'm just coming in here and adding in a little bit of the thicker down strokes. If you already know how to do calligraphy, you could use a calligraphy pen to do this. Now, I like to also mix and match different styles. So you'll see a lot of times with my lettering, you'll have calligraphy right next to something like this, which is like a serif where you've got the little feet on it, but then I will kind of add my own little flares and pizzazz, because that's the whole point of hand lettering, is that it's your own. The more you do it, the more you will end up with your own style. So at first, you may find that you're sort of copying somebody else's style. And then you might find somebody else, you like their style, and you kind of start to learn that. And then over time, it starts to meld together, mesh together, and you kind of come up with your own look and your own way of doing things. Is anybody else here left-handed? I'm curious about that too, because that is something that we see a lot, is that being left-handed, sometimes you feel like you can't do hand lettering, but that's just not true. It's definitely not true. So now I'm going to add in the details. So remember, let me get out the example again. We have these little fold, kind of like if you were to pinch a ribbon, it would have some little folds in it. So we add that detail, and then we can add some shadowing on the back folded sides too. So I'm going to come in and just add in a few of those. You could do 3, you could do 4, doesn't really matter, but you see how they're kind of angled up this way. And on this side, because of this shape of banner, I'm going to have them come down and angle the other way. I see some lefties. Yay. Good for y'all. Oh, it's sending y'all. Okay, I didn't even think about this. It looks like it is auto sending you one of my keywords. I have one of those keyword things set up for lefties. So sorry about that. But yes, it'll send you a little bit of information about my hand lettering course, because I could teach anyone. I've taught hundreds of women, but I do have a special module for left-handed people in my course. So that's why it's sending y'all that. And I'm sorry, I didn't even think about that. But here I'm going to add in these little lines. You just freehand this. You don't have to have them, you know, again, we're not worried about perfection. Whenever it gets on your tree, nobody's going to notice if your lines are different widths apart or anything like that. But again, doesn't that kind of just add to like the pretty element to it, that it's not all the same, you know, because we're not robots. And that's what I always say. We're not robots. Things are not going to always, you know, be the same. So you could even like, I mean, if you wanted to, you could even come in here. You could do different colored Sharpies. Like if you wanted to do a red paint pen or something, again, so many options, but you could even like add in a couple little lines there if you want to fill in that. So now I'm going to cut it out. And because of being left-handed, I always feel more comfortable staying where whatever I'm cutting out is on like the upper part, I guess the left-handed side. So I kind of cut things out weird, but what you're going to do is you're going to leave a little white edge all the way around. And see, I'm not going to worry about getting those yet, those little inside pieces, just because I can't get my scissors in there too easily. So I'm just going to go around. And then when you get to the edges here, kind of curve your scissors so you don't have like a real sharp point there. Curve around that banner and just keep going, keeping about the same thickness of white all the way around if you can. I'm going to come back and finish these little inset parts. But I want you to stay and see how I put this in the tree, because like I said before, it is a little bit different. Now, if you want to, you could add a string to this. I pulled out a piece of baker's twine. Maybe I should make sure y'all can see me. I pulled out a piece of baker's twine so that you can add a string if you want to, and I can show you how to do that. So, all right, so see, I don't necessarily like this sharp tip there. Just like it to look a little bit more rounded. And then now I'm going to go in. Now that I've got all that paper gone, I can kind of come in here and just finish this up a little bit cleaner. So yeah, you want to make sure that you cut all those little extra pieces out. Follow your lines. There we go. Okay. Well, that didn't want to cut. I have little bits of paper all over my office floor because I was working on this last night to get some examples on the tree for you and to practice it and everything. And I've got just like paper everywhere from these little bits. So, okay. So there it is. There is our example piece. And again, this fit on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So, you know, it's probably about 8 inches long. So let me go back to the big screen. So I hope you can see. I don't know that I can zoom it in anymore, but maybe move my computer forward just a tad. Down here is this large Silent Night. So you can see maybe the size difference. So I did that with the big one and I liked it a lot. Even on this skinny tree, I really liked the way that it wrapped, because again, with this roll paper, you've already got this natural kind of bend to the paper that works in your favor when you go to put it in your tree. So I have all artificial trees. And so like here, this one was with the construction paper. It didn't have any bend to it. So it was just kind of like propped there, right? But if you take this craft paper and you stick it in there, I just kind of wedge it into the branches so that the branches are hugging it, or maybe another ornament is hugging it so that it stays. And it just has this like scrolling look, especially with the big ones. So like here's the big one. And again, it kind of is already like wrapping because it was from that roll paper. And so you're just going to tuck it in and sit it there. Now, if you've got cats or kids and you want it to feel a little bit more secured, you can use like some baker's twine like this. And take a hole puncher. I'm almost out of time, so I may not take the time to do this. Let's see, I can do it in 4 minutes, right? Okay, but just take the little hole puncher and make a couple little holes in here. And then you'll just tie this on so that so this kind of makes it a little bit more like a normal ornament where you could hang it on a branch, and that might just make you feel a little bit better that it's more secure. But I promise you that you can wedge these things in because they're so lightweight that you can really like wedge them into your tree and get them to stand up in there, especially if your paper is thick enough. Like I told you that at first, the paper that I used was too flimsy, and this construction paper is even thicker. So just go around the store feeling the different papers. That's what I did. But okay, so I just tied this on. And so then you can use the branches to secure it and hang it up there. And then you can still kind of like prop it into the tree. Don't be afraid to even like bend it a little bit and let it kind of naturally bend around the branches. Does that make sense? Let's see if there's any questions. The brown craft paper actually could look really cool too, depending on the look of your tree. If you have more of a, like, you know, natural colors in your tree and everything. So yes, Wanda asked, could you print it landscape? So it is already printed. The way that I did it is printed landscape. So that's the way that it is formatted for you to print. Any other questions? Listen, this was so fun. I hope that you liked this. I would love to see if you try it. You could always send me a picture at Crystal Witten. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I love to see trees. Christmas trees are one of my favorite things. I'm always all about decorating them and trying to find different things to do. So I would love to see yours if you try this out. There's a couple things I wanted to tell you about. One is the Faith and Lettering course. If you're looking to up your lettering game, then definitely check that out. You can comment learn in the comments and it will send you that link, or Lefty, and it'll send you the link to read more about that. Make sure that you stick around for my friend Christy. She is up next. She's starting in 1 minute, and her link is there in the description. The last thing I wanted to mention really fast is that I'm having a big sale of all my products for Black Friday. It's the biggest sale that I've done in a really long time. And if you commented VIP or send me a message, I can help you get on my VIP list so that you can make sure you can see the different things that are offered there. There will be some things for everybody. So thank you so much. Go see Christy. Let's keep the fun going. This is going to be such a great day. So Christy, you're up.